But so far it seems like it'll be...
Yeah, no worries with that at all. This is just great in itself.
Awesome.
So Jonathan, what kind of plane is this?
This is a Cessna 120.
And when was she built?
She was built in 1947.
Wow, an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, yep.
Beautiful sunrise.
Clear prop.
First got you interested in flying?
Well, I first became interested in flying learning about my great-grandfather. And so my great-grandfather's name is Ernest Boffa, and he was a Canadian bush pilot in the Northwest Territories, and he flew the lakes out there, and he was actually one of the pioneers of Canadian, or the aviation in Canada, and eventually he had a lake named after him, and he's in the Canadian Hall of Fame of Aviation and that sort of thing. So there's a rich background and history of aviation within my family, but none of my immediate family ever took on the task of learning to fly or anything like that. And my uncle, Jim Rafuse, out of Anchorage, when I was a kid, he was one of my favorite uncles because he owned the local hobby shop, and I got into model aviation, and I got my first remote control airplane when I think I was maybe 13 or something. You know, I plugged in the battery and I sent it off for its first flight, and it was pretty much downhill from there. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I got really into modeling. I started designing and building my own model airplanes, and that kind of grew into its own little passion. And then when I got to college, that's where my opportunities kind of started learning how to fly real airplanes. my first flight was with one of a local resident in Untitled, where I'm from, my hometown. It's a small town of only about 800 people. And Tim Daniels was my first instructor, and he only took me on maybe 3 or 4 flights, but those 3 or 4 flights were probably the most important of my life, my career, because it's what really sealed the deal for me. So here I am 4 years later, got my private pilot license now, did that through the University of Alaska Anchorage. They have a really nice aviation program.
Tell us about the landing that we just did.
Well, the landing was definitely interesting. It was the most crosswind that I've actually landed in. The most crosswind before this that I've landed in was 10 knots, and this was more like 14 or 15, which is right at the threshold of my personal limit. But it was safe. It was a safe landing.
Yeah.
It was pretty non-eventful. And I just had to concentrate, and
yeah,
we made it home.
You did a great job. It was a very smooth landing. It was you could tell you were just handling the plane really well, which was, I felt like I was in good hands, so I was just enjoying the view.
Well, you're very trusting, and I you know, it's good to know.